Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays. It's the last Rip N Riff for 2024. Over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. It's been quite the ride this year in 2024, Jared. Can't believe we're getting ready for 2025.
Yeah, they say it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. I think that's how that song goes. And I can certainly attest to that between, the weather in the Northeast and getting down to about 6 degrees last night. And my throat's a little scratchy today, but we should be fine for the show. So between that and looking at my credit card bill for the month, it's like, yeah, it really is beginning to feel a lot like Christmas.
That gives you that year-end positivity right there. Credit card debt creeping up, and getting sick because it's that time of the year. I know in the Northeast it's been as I used to say back when I lived there, pretty brick. I've heard in the last few days.
It has been very brick the last 2 nights. It is supposed to warm up tomorrow, so hopefully it'll be more like a normal 30-degree type of day. But that's neither here nor there.
That's not here nor there. We're here to rip packs today. We got a nice variety here. Subtly boycotting football today because of the overtaking of Christmas Day. So no, you want to take Christmas, that's fine. No football here this week. Sorry. That will bring football back in 2025.
There will be plenty of time to do football, especially with both of our teams being as pathetic as they are. There's not really much to add at this point of the season with 2 weeks left.
Yeah, well, when the playoff picture solidifies a little more, and it's starting to, but I will say I'm not a fan of like the way this week has like spread out. Like, yeah, I know it's Christmas Day, and then you got Thursday, and then you got the Saturday games this week. It's just it's a lot of football, which is good, but it's also sometimes like, I want to do other things. Anyway, let's get to today's pack ripping lineup here. And I would say I'm excited for this Upper Deck Series 1 that came in the mail. Going to do a couple of hobby blaster box packs here. You can see the rookies up there. No Celebrini. He's going to be in Series 2, so that's where I'm going to spend a lot more money. He's going to be more for fun there. Cutter Gauthier, Logan Stankoven, Lane Hudson, all those guys right there. And then because the NBA and Christmas have gone hand in hand for years, we're going to do a throwback pack here. 91-92 Skybox, John Starks, Larry Johnson, Dikembe Mutombo, Kenny Anderson, rookies. Also a Coach K, Team USA, technically rookie card there. So, we'll have some fun with that. Jared, what are you bringing to the table today?
Well, our buddy Nodno turned us on to these a couple of years ago with the Topps holiday packs for Major League Baseball, and the 2024 edition of them is out. And if you're not familiar with these cards, think like your regular baseball cards, except the guys who put them together have a little fun with the Photoshop. Maybe they'll insert like a candy cane for a baseball bat, or they'll put snow in the background, or they'll put a player on skates, or they'll make it nice and winter holiday themes. So I don't think the Paul Skeens rookie holiday card is going to pay for our retirement, but
probably not.
But it would be nice to pull, and we got a couple of these packs, so we can certainly have fun with what they came up with this year. Maybe they actually have a little creativity this year, and instead of the stuff I just mentioned.
Yeah, maybe. Now, before we get to that, I just happened to stumble across this last night and wanted to show off. We talk about like the photo usage, for a card and how important that is. So I was randomly just scrolling on the internet, and I just saw this random Dan Marino card. Look at how terrible the picture usage is there. Let's get like only like 10%, maybe 20% of Marino in the photo, and have this big old running back or fullback right in front of him.
That feels like they were up against the deadline, and whoever was taking the actual photos. Now, this is back in 91, so they probably were actually using film. So maybe they actually ran out of shots in there, and is like, well, it's either this one or this other Dan Marino picture that's not very good. So we're going with this one.
Yeah, that's probably one of like for a legendary quarterback. That's probably like his worst card right there. Gotta be. But speaking of, let's get to what one of the reasons everybody tunes in here. Let's go. It's time to kick things off on Rip N Riff with
my Rip N Rant.
Thanks, Dave. So mine will lead to your. Do you want to? I mean, they're kind of related. So do you want to take the you want to kick off here and I'll take the series, or how do you want to handle this?
Yeah, I guess I can go first, and then you can kind of piggyback off of it. So, my Rip and Rant this week is on Matt Rempe, New York Rangers goon. I'm not going to call him a star like the New York Post, because the word star is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. And if you're not familiar with the player, let's just say he's played 22 career regular season games, and he's been ejected from 4 of them, and he got a 4-game suspension last year for elbowing, and had an incident over the weekend where he boarded / elbowed Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars. And we can't show the play, but you can certainly look it up. The type of play that he got suspended for is the exact type of play the NHL is trying to get out of the game, between it's a defenseless player. Heiskanen's playing the puck along the boards. Rempe's literally 15 feet away, and he deliberately makes strides towards him and boards him / elbows him in the back of the neck and the head. And Pete DeBoer after the game called it a dangerous hit, and rightfully so. I think it was, I think he hit the nail on the head. It was a dangerous hit. But the cherry on top for me with Matt Rempe is once again, as he's being shown the door in one of these games, he's taunting the crowd. He's being an ass. He's putting his hand to his ear, doing the Hulk Hogan, I can't hear you. It's dude, you've been in the NHL for 5 minutes, and you keep pulling this nonsense. And I know that when the NHL put out their suspension video for him, they didn't mention that, but you honestly deserve an extra game or two on top of that, just for being an ass on top of it, because it just shows that you don't get it. I'm not saying he's out there deliberately trying to hurt people. I'm not saying don't play physical. I want to be clear about that. And we've talked a lot about on this show about physical play and all that sort of stuff, and how there's a place for it. But he either doesn't know where that proverbial line is, where he can't control himself from crossing it, or he just doesn't give a shit, and he'll keep crossing it, and he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And either way, it's not acceptable. And, this whole situation has been worse by all the people who enable him, and, the media over the summer writing all these fluff pieces about his training with, what's his face, training about how to be a better fighter or whatever. It's maybe you should train how to be a better hockey player. And I think the worst thing with this entire thing is I watched a lot of that game on Friday. That was actually one of his better games in terms of being an agitator and being a pest, and getting under the skin of the opponent, but not crossing the line. And then he went and did that. So he got 8 games. Personally, I think 8 games is a little bit light, but you suspend him for more than that, you're going to run the risk of it being overturned. And I just feel with Rempe, at some point, if somebody doesn't step in, he's going to seriously injure somebody, because he clearly doesn't care. He's going to do whatever he wants to do.
Matt, George Laraque was the guy you were thinking of that he trained with over the summer.
Thank you. I didn't want to just throw a name out there and have it be incorrect.
No, I double checked. It was George Laraque. And listen, literally the only thing I'll disagree with is, I think 8 games, which is basically 10% of the regular season, is, like you said, a good way to go, because you have to worry about anything longer than that, than the Players Association having to be no, we need to appeal this, blah, blah, blah. I am a Ranger fan. There's really nothing I can disagree with. Like you said, and he was having an impact on that game. He was doing, and that's the thing. Both of us are guys that Scott Stevens is one of your favorite players of all time. One of my favorite hockey plays of all time is Scott Stevens taking Eric Lindros out in the conference finals that year. We like physical play. That's what Rempe does is over the line. Sometimes bodies will make contact, arms will fly, and you'll elbow somebody. You don't mean to elbow. That's just physics. Sometimes you can't control your show me where on that play where he was unable to not hit him the way he did, where he could have, you don't hit a guy if you could see his name and his number on his back, you're not supposed to plow him into the boards. Number one, that's the rule right there. You want to skate up and pin him, make sure he can't. There's a difference, and there's a way.
It's textbook boarding. That's
right.
Exactly what it is.
So that's first of all, And two, what was disappointing, and like, listen, he's a young guy, so you can't really get too on him for this. He had a chance to come in. This team is a disaster right now, even before what happened with Rempe. And we've all seen what happens when Rempe comes in the lineup. He has an impact. He has the team plays better. He had an opportunity. Like, he didn't seize the moment. He could have been like, all right, the way he was playing earlier in the game before he had that play, just play that way, and you're going to have an impact on this team right now, because they were dying for anything, any sort of positive impact, anything to look and be like, all right, he's got us going. We got our jump. We got our jam. Let's go. Let's get down to, we're playing the Dallas Stars. You're not going to beat them easy. You got to play. And he wasted the opportunity. And like you said, him walking off the ice, doing like the, can't hear you, whatever, like that just shows he's immature. And like you said, he got pumped up. I mean, even in this industry, I mean, the Rempe rookie card was getting attention. Who would have thought Matt Rempe's rookie card would ever have meant anything? And it's just, here we are again with the Rangers. It's like, things were bad, Chris Drury and all this other stuff going on. And like, no, here's Rempe. And then you got Sarah Palin sounding off like, oh, when did hockey fans become soft? No. There's playing physical, and then there's doing stupid, dirty things. And that's exactly what Rempe did. And frankly, like, at a certain point, like, people wonder why, like, oh, Laviolette doesn't dress him. That's why. Because what are you going to have him for? A game, 2 games before he gets suspended? And it's going to cost somebody else their, concussion protocol, if not worse. Like, no.
Right. There's a reason the Rangers barely trust him to play like 5 minutes a night as it is. And this is the reason why, because they can't trust him to not have a game misconduct and get himself tossed. And, he's a guy who's already had 8 major penalties for, he's played 22 NHL regular season games. He has 8 major penalties. Like, when you continue to put your team in a bind like that by having to kill off 5-minute majors, like, that's not a recipe for staying in the lineup. Even though the Rangers have, for the most part, I think have probably killed off most of those 5-minute majors. But, that's not the point. The point is, like, you can't continue to put the team in a bind like that. And like you said, there's a difference between like a bang bang play, elbow gets up by accident. There's a difference between that and what we saw on Friday with Rempe, where he went out of his way to lay a big hit. So,
yeah, it's like we trade the dirty hit from the blue line up to the the fourth line. That's all we've done. We get Trouba out, and now you put Rempe in, and it's like, even when that 8-game suspension is over, like, how can you put him back in the lineup? Like, you can't. Like, at some point you're gonna have to, due to injuries or back-to-backs, and somebody, like, it'll happen. Like, he can't have a guaranteed spot in this lineup until he proves that he can go out and play 5 minutes a night, like you said, and play it edgy, but try and stay on the right side of the line.
I don't think he can. I think this is just who he is as a player. Like, I'm not saying he's like maliciously trying to hurt people, but like, I think he just doesn't care. Like, I think he's just going to be like, I'm going to play how I play, and that's it.
And to me, when people are like, oh, that's just how I play, I can't turn it off, bro. It's like, no, because it works the other way, right? Like, most of the time, everybody's playing a good, clean, hard-paced game, but then you do something dirty or unsavory, and even the nicest of guys can snap and really just go nuts on somebody. So it works both ways. So you can be a hard, edgy, physical player, but know when to dial it back from 10 to 9.5 in that department, and that can make a difference. And if at this point, if he's not learning, let him go be somebody else's liability, because that's what he is.
Yep.
Now, let's get in the holiday spirit here. We've got, like, it's rare that you and I agree on an issue about the Rangers, but like, it's just like, the season's embarrassing, and then that happens, and it's just like, oh, here we go, we're back to square one again. I mean, I know they got the win in Dallas, but still.
Yeah, and they got outplayed in that game, but a win's a win. But yeah, and then they followed up with that stinker yesterday in the Garden, and they have the Devils this afternoon. So we'll see if the Devils can. I don't want to say put the killing blow on the Rangers, but they could certainly kick them while they're down, and that's something that good teams do.
Serve them a big lump of coal in their stocking.
All right, you ready to do some cards?
Let's do some baseball. Yeah, we could get back to hockey in a little bit, but yeah, let's get all fuzzy and feel good here. Let me bring up the East Coast cam.
Yeah, hopefully my camera doesn't die this week. That would be wonderful. But we will certainly start this off. And I already like the look of these cards. It's a little more festive with the pine needles and the stockings and all that sort of stuff. So start with an Angels rookie card here of Nolan Shanwell. I believe he's an infielder for the Angels. So we like that. Riley Green is one of the best young players on the Detroit Tigers, and the Tigers obviously had that huge second half of the season. So that's pretty cool.
They're an exciting team to watch too.
Yeah, I really like this pack. Just it's a lot of heavy hitters in this pack, and you know how I feel about that.
Good.
And like, doesn't get much heavier than Yordan Alvarez in terms of being a heavy hitter. And the Astros are certainly going to be an interesting team this year. They trade away Kyle Tucker. They make the signing for Christian Walker to play first base. They have Isaac Paredes to play third base, so they'll probably move on from Alex Bregman as well. So they're certainly a team in transition.
Yeah, but I mean, they're still, one of those teams in the West that, like, they're there until they're not there. So, and just to go to look at the card, I love like the neon, like Christmas stockings and all that. Like that is just that's top notch right there.
Yep. We go from that to a World Series champion here, Will Smith, the LA Dodgers catcher. I like this card as well because I don't know how you'll be able to see it on camera, but here's Bobby Witt Jr., but you can kind of see.
Oh, yeah, there you go. It's like reflective, hologrammy, almost layered kind of look.
Yeah, kind of like a little bit layered, almost like I don't want to say like a glittery sort of thing, but like you can kind of see it there a little bit with like the elf there on the top right and the stocking there on the left and a little reindeer in the bottom right. So pretty cool to see that.
That one probably requires a little bit of a top loader, I would think.
Yeah, why not? I mean, he's Bobby Witt Jr. finished second in the MVP voting. Certainly one of the best young players in baseball.
Player who would want that card? John and Pemba. He collects Bobby Witt Jr. Hit him up. He might want that.
Oh, he probably would. He might have something cool to trade too.
Yeah.
I actually will hit up John and Pemba on that one. We'll take him up on that.
Yeah.
Hae-Sung Kim, free agent with the Padres. We'll see where he winds up landing this offseason.
Good fantasy player too, Hae-Sung Kim.
Yep. Brian Hayes with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
It's nice. Love a shot where they've got like a dirty spot from like sliding into second base or whatever. That's baseball right there.
Yep. I'm not really seeing a lot of like this guy's wearing candy canes or he's swinging a candy cane or whatnot. So it looks like they changed up the look of these cards a little bit in general, but we'll finish this up with a couple rookies and a now former Yankee. Johan Rojas, rookie with the Phillies. Tyler Soderstrom, catcher and first baseman with the don't call them the Sacramento A's. They just want to be the Athletics.
The Athletics. Yeah, they're the Athletics. That's what they are.
The Athletics. And similar card to the one we just saw with Bobby Witt, except you can't really see. This one doesn't have like that stencil, whatever you want to call it. But Gleyber Torres here with the Yankees.
Formerly of the Yankees, I guess. So he's going to be somewhere else, I'd imagine.
He'll be somewhere else. He hasn't signed anywhere yet, but he will at some point. I don't know where he's going to wind up. I guess there's a small chance he could wind up back on the Yankees, but it sounds like the Yankees might want to just move on, just because I think they know he's not very good defensively. He sort of has his the warts in his game, and they just want to get a little more younger, a little more athletic. So I can certainly understand that.
Yeah, I think he's run his course here. I mean, I'm okay with moving on from him. But if he wants to come back at a fair value, great, whatever.
All right, we'll go through this other pack pretty quickly. Zach Neto with the LA Angels. Emmanuel Clase, when he's not giving up massive home runs to Aaron Judge, he's shown here.
Top-notch fantasy closer as well when he's not giving up massive home runs to Aaron Judge. I almost said Aaron Rodgers.
I'm glad you didn't. Let's see. We have Chris Bryant with the Colorado Rockies, about as directionless of a baseball team as you can imagine. Hello, Kitty. Ronel Blanco, rookie card with the Houston Astros, threw a no-hitter earlier this year. All right, this one's pretty cool. It's not often we get an insert card here, and we get a patch card here.
Oh, okay.
A rookie patch card for Christian and Encarnacion Strand. So you can see a nice little jersey patch there. and the little Cincinnati Reds logo there, right above it, almost looks like the Maker's Mark bottle seal.
Like the wax top kind of thing. Yeah, that's a great looking card there. Happy holidays.
Yeah, I mean, we might have an early front runner here for pull of the day, but that's a pretty sweet card. Not often we get a patch card live on the show, but it's cool to pull one.
I mean, we're probably not going to get one out of the basketball pack. Maybe we'll get one out of the hockey pack. We'll see. But
Right.
yeah, that's the front row. That's minus 150 to be a pull of the day already.
And we close out the pack with a couple interesting players, I suppose. Shane McClanahan working his way back from Tommy John. We'll see what the Rays are this offseason. They actually just signed Eloy Jimenez to a minor league deal today, so they'll see if there's anything left in that bat. Adolis Garcia with the Texas Rangers. Rangers were in the news yesterday. They traded Nate Lowe to the Nationals, so that's one less first base destination for free agency for Pete Alonso. So
good.
Something to keep in mind there. And Lane Thomas with the Cleveland Guardians, although Lane Thomas might wind up being traded at some point as well. So we shall see. And the Guardians were just in the news the other day because when the Yankees signed Goldschmidt, that sort of set off the chain reaction of the rest of the first baseman market. The Guardians traded Josh Naylor to the Diamondbacks to replace Christian Walker, and the Guardians subsequently brought back Carlos Santana for a third tour of duty in Cleveland.
I mean, why not? I mean, he's still producing. I mean, he's not the Carlos Santana of old, but he's still
he's just Carlos Santana now. He's 39 years old, but I think it's a worthwhile signing. It's 1 year. So I certainly don't have any issue with it. And you know how the Guardians are. They're not going to pay anybody. So they decided to just move on from Naylor and get what they can for him.
Just like the Carlos Santana, the guitar player, even with age, he just keeps going and he's still good, you know?
How about that?
Yeah, there you go. You got to make that cross reference there. Oh, never a bad thing there. And I also got the that Devil Rays jersey and that card there. They need to go back to that look full time. Like, even if I know they have not the Devil Rays anymore, but maybe incorporate that design with just the Rays. It would still look pretty cool. I love that old, like, late 90s neon color schemes they got there.
Here's the back of that Christian Encarnacion Strand card, by the way, just so you can see it. So you see a little ornaments there. It's a relic card from the Topps 2024 Holiday Mega Baseball Collection. So pretty cool card to get there. That'll be a keeper.
Yeah, that's when you put because that was a cool, like you said, we don't get like those kinds of cards on Rip and Riff that often. So the fact that we got one out of a holiday pack and it was a pretty solid player, you got to take that. That's pretty good. All right, we ready to get back to the world of the NHL now?
Yeah, let's do that. Hopefully, we don't pull Matt Rempe in this pack after I just shit on him for 15 minutes.
Oh, we're absolutely going to be pulling Matt Rempe. And as I pull up the Rip Cam with my Rangers place marker there, I'll say this: the Sharks have been more fun to watch than the Rangers this year.
The Sharks are in a rebuild, but you can see the pieces there starting to come together. They have young pieces. The fact they made the trade for Askarov, I think, is a huge move for them because I certainly I wouldn't want to watch Mackenzie Blackwood or Vitek Vanacek for 82 games, and they were smart to sell high on Blackwood when they did, and get a second round pick and take on the final year of Georgiev's contract as well.
And listen, I understand that like there's no moral victories and stuff like that, but like they're competitive deeper into games, even though they're still losing a lot. Like the losses are the losses are games that you can take something out of for a young team. Like, hey, you had Connor McDavid on the ropes till how many minutes ago in the third and got to overtime and all that. Like they're getting better, and they're also a fun team to watch because they play hard. It's a team that has not been fun to watch are the Chicago Blackhawks, and that's Alex Vlasic there. And you can see the look of the Series 1 this year. Pretty good there. Nice. Got the little colored ice on the bottom relative to the team color. Good picture there. Good, simple layout. We've got Lawson Krause here, pictured as a Coyote, now the Utah Hockey Club. They said they were going to announce the logo or the official mascot or whatever this season, and they have yet to do that. And we're almost in January, so I wonder how long they're waiting.
I'm going to guess they're going to wait till after the season, and they'll probably do it sometime in the summer once, because it's a lengthy process. You got to go through all sorts of legal and whatnot, and you don't want to
No,
take a
I think they
name.
have all that done, and they're just sitting on it and waiting for a release date. Like it's all done.
Oh, well, they're probably waiting for the season to be over then once they're done.
And maybe, or they're waiting for like a lull in the season. Like, okay, let's drop it here. You know, there's no reason to set a date for that, I guess, and then you could just drop it whenever you want. We talked about the
If I could make a recommendation, they should stick with Utah Hockey Club.
I don't know. I mean, I like the colors, but yeah,
So do I.
But Utah Hockey Club. I mean, that's like Washington football team. I know some people liked it, but I'm like, it was better than the Commanders. They got to change Commanders. I don't know if they.
Exactly. Washington football team is better than Washington Commanders.
But like Utah Yeti, which I'm not a big fan of, I think is better than that. Utah Mammoth is better than that. What was the other? I forgot what the other finalist was. That was Utah Outlaws was another one. I thought it was pretty cool.
The Outlaws sounds like a minor league team. You can't be the Outlaws.
It does, and I think were a minor league team at one point. We talked a little Sharks here. Here's a guy that's been playing well for them, Fabian Zetterlund. Good all-around player there. Had a little bit of a rough stretch, but working his way back in the top 6 there.
Yeah, he's one of the young players they got in the Timo Meier trade a few years ago from the Devils, and he's a guy you could play anywhere in your top 9, and I think he's not going to look out of place. You know, he has a little bit of a physical edge to him. He's a big boy, certainly big and strong, and he plays what I would call a playoff hockey style of brand. So like the Sharks would be smart to extend him and have him be one of the pieces they continue to build around. And if they aren't smart enough to do that, I would imagine there's a lot of teams that would be lining up to try to add a player like Fabian Zetterlund at the deadline.
Maybe it's just the holiday spirit, but you and I are agreeing a lot today because I agree. Like he's not like a face of the franchise player, but like if you're a Sharks team that's looking to get back to the playoffs in the next couple of years and all that, he's absolutely a guy that you want to keep around for the long term. He's physical. He can play on the top line with those guys. You could drop him down to the third, like you said. You can play him wherever you need to, and he's going to contribute and have an impact. All right, what do we got here? We got Sonny Milano with the Capitals there. Got Eric Goodbranson with the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, we've got our gaming FOV here. Leon Draisaitl, 85%. That's a cool little like hologrammy reflective one there.
I like that. Why the 85% though?
It's supposed to be like a video game thing, I think, like theme. Let me spring back. Was that one of the inserts or sets there? Let's see. Outburst, parallels, younger. That's part of, I guess, like the XP A lines. I don't know. Holotypes. Otherwise, it's still a pretty cool card, though.
I guess. I like it. It's fine.
All right. We got, let's see here. Brian Getzlaff with the Anaheim Ducks is a throwback con. This is a Young Guns retro. Look at that.
That certainly is a retro, and you know how I feel about those Mighty Ducks jerseys. So we certainly love the look of that. You know, it's a Ryan Getzlaff throwback if he still has a head of hair, because that dude was bald at the age of like 26.
Yes.
But, Ryan Getzlaff was a very productive player for a very long time on some really good Ducks teams, and then a lot of really bad Ducks teams at the end.
Yep, but hey, he got that cup there, and let's see. The Ducks retired his number. I just wanted to double check that. I was like, he's a guy they got to retire. But yeah, he was part of that 2007 Cup team, and yeah, hell of a hockey player. They don't, a lot of teams will take a guy like him. We've got a glossy OPC Nikita Kucherov parallel there.
Interesting. I guess they worked out some sort of deal with OPC to have a little cross collaboration there. So that's interesting.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a guy like Kucherov still having just another stellar year. We got Ridley Grieg from the Ottawa Senators, but here's the guy we want to talk about. Always good to get this guy in a base card, Mr. Alex Ovechkin, which that could be a last card. It won't be a last card. He's got another year in the contract, but Ovechkin is nearing a return, and he is obviously closing in on Gretzky's goal record. I think he's 26 away, something like that. So I think he probably missed. I know he was white hot to start the season. I think he probably missed enough time where it's next
probably
year.
A little bit of a stretch to think he's going to get it this year now at this point, because you only basically have like 44 games to go or whatever it is. But he's going to get the goals record, and I mean, he's certainly the best goal scorer of this era, and I think very soon we can say of any era.
He's in terms of just pure goal scoring ability, he's the best of all time. Like just you know how we talk about Mariano Rivera with that one pitch and nobody could figure it out all those years. Alex Ovechkin sets up on the left side on the half wall at the dot. Everybody knows he's going there. They don't even bother covering him anymore because like even if you put a guy over there, it doesn't matter. He's and he still does it. I mean, I will say this: the Capitals come to play San Jose mid-March. I did buy tickets for that game just on the off chance he gets white hot when he comes back, and all of a sudden there's a chance that's like, one of the approaching ones. It would be cool to see that.
Well, you know what? Even if he doesn't, like, how many more opportunities are you going to get to see Alex Ovechkin live? Like, I don't know if you've seen him live before. I'm assuming you have, just because
I had Ranger season tickets, and I've seen them in the playoffs a bunch. I've seen Ovechkin a bunch, but like you're saying, you take that for granted. I haven't seen Ovi play in probably 7-8 years minimum.
Right. So, like, you don't know how much longer he's going to have, 1 year, 2 year tops. So it's one of those things, man. It's kind of like, the NBA with LeBron and, the NFL with Brady when he was still there. It was like, enjoy the legends while they're still around because, eventually they're not going to be around.
Like you said, he's got 1 more year on that contract. So if you're, you've ever seen Ovechkin play, even if you're just a sports fan but not a big hockey fan, figure out when the Capitals come to town, either the remainder of this season or next year, and watch him. He's one of the greats. We got Jordan Kyrou there with the Blues, who have been a scrappy bunch with Jim Montgomery, the Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg additions. They go out and get Cam Fowler. So St. Louis at least trying to stay somewhat scrappy there in the Central Division.
Yeah, they are. I still don't really like their blue line a whole lot, and I don't think adding Cam Fowler is going to do a whole lot there to change my opinion of it. I think their blue line's just a little too old and doesn't really do a whole lot of defending. But that's also a team that if you're a team that defends well, you can kind of shut them down. I know the Devils have certainly did that a week ago or so when they faced the Blues in St. Louis. So.
They're good. The Blues are just good enough to make you earn your victory. That's what they are. Now we closed this pack, the first of two. We said no Matt Rempe, but there's Chris Kreider, and we'll see what his future holds here. But I mean, his name has been thrown around with trade rumors as well.
I'm gonna guess that Kreider probably finishes the year in New York, just because I think with 2 more years at $6.5 million, it's a little bit much to ask to try to move that in season. But I could see the Rangers doing some sort of, now that they've traded Trouba, they got rid of Gaudreau last year, but they traded Kakko. I think that's a team that's sort of I'm not going to say rebuild, but they could certainly retool on the fly. And I think Kreider might be another one of those pieces that goes because he's a little bit older and the contract's movable.
I mean, we talked about Kreider on a recent episode of Total Hockey Now during a Fantasy Festivus segment. 11 goals and 1 assist on the season. How does somebody who plays on a top power play unit only have 1 assist? It's like mind-boggling.
I can understand that if you were still I don't know, a month into the season. Like we're almost halfway through the season now, and he still has that, which is certainly hard to believe. But Kreider's another one of those guys. He's been on the Rangers so long. He's basically at or near the top of the leaderboard of every major statistic for the Rangers as well. So he's certainly a franchise icon in that respect.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a Kreider jersey in my closet that I'll never give away, no matter how old and decrepit it gets, because he's an all timer for the Rangers. Let's go to pack 2 here. We got a nice mix in this one. So we start with Alex Newhook there, pictured with the Canadians. And then after him, Sasha Barkov, Florida Panthers there, reigning Stanley Cup champion Sasha Barkov.
Yeah, it's funny. You look at the 2 cards. Alex Newhook looks like he's 12 in his photo, and then you see Sasha Barkov, grown ass man.
Yeah, that looks like it's a solid 12-year age gap minimum there. Let's see here. Speaking of young guys, but plays like he's been around forever, Cale Makar.
Yeah, Cale Makar is certainly one of the best defensemen in the NHL, and I guess you could say he's the prize of that 2017 draft class. It's basically between him and Nico Hischier at this point, and maybe Elias Pettersson to a lesser extent, but we're also talking about different types of players at this point, so it's a little hard to compare and contrast them.
Yeah, and we talk about that shot of Dan Marino before. That is a great action shot for a card right there. Him getting ready to looks like tee up a one-timer there. Absolutely. Let's see here. We got the reason why John Gibson's going to be traded out of Anaheim soon, despite the fact that he's old and has a contract. Lucas Dostal having a pretty solid season there for Anaheim, even though they're not one of the best teams.
Yeah, and that Gibson contract's, finally getting to the point where there's only like a year or two left on it. It's actually, movable now, as opposed to, 4 years ago when it was immovable. So, the Ducks kind of need to transition and go in a different direction. So that's good to see.
And that's one of the last times you'll see that webbed D logo on a card, probably, unless they go wear them as retro jerseys down the line, because they are back to the logo we all know and love. Here's Brock Nelson picture with the Islanders. Obviously not a great season on Long Island there. We had one Nikita Kucherov before. Here's a Nikita Kucherov base card, also a great action shot there.
It's amazing how good he is. Like, I was looking the other day at the league leader in stats, and he has something like 49 points in 28 games. It's almost 2 points a game. He's just insane.
You take for granted that he's just always like in third place in league scoring and like top 2 in goals. Like he's just always there. Like you just glaze by him because you're just used to just seeing him there.
He's always there, and he's going to wind up winning another Hart Trophy or two before it's all said and done.
Yeah. One of his Lightning teammates here, or no longer, I guess, traded Tanner Jeannot. What are your favorite contracts there?
Well, it was one of my favorite trades when it happened because they gave up like 5 draft picks plus Cal Foote to go get him, but that trade didn't quite work out for the Lightning. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to recreate the whole Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow thing with Tanner Jeannot. It didn't quite work out there.
No, it did not. Another mobile Avalanche defenseman here, Samuel Girard. Let's see here. We got one of the, he's not Alexander Ovechkin, but one of the best goal scorers in the league today, Kyle Connor.
Yeah, certainly. You can say the best American goal scorer in the league, I suppose. It's probably between him and like Austin Matthews, I suppose, for that title. But and obviously Austin Matthews has been banged up all year. So yeah, we can give the title to Kyle Connor for a year. Why not?
Sure. He a good American boy there. Now this is one I'll have to send to Christopher Merez at Fuzzy Chris 91. Everyone's favorite Wi-Fi right there. Checkpoint subset series. And by the way, Matt Rempe, that is how you perform a clean hit into the boards. You see the logo on the front of the jersey. Yeah, I know the stick gets up. I mean, that's his own stick there. That's how you have a clean hit into the boards. Play physical. Send a message. That's how you do it.
Right. This isn't a Jacob Trouba flying elbow where you launch yourself 5 feet in the air and try to decapitate somebody. This is a good clean hit. When you were setting that up for the Montreal Canadiens, I actually thought you were going to go Lane Hudson because I know he's been a popular name among Habs Twitter the last few months.
They've been heralding him since the beginning of the year, and he's starting to. I mean, the assists have been there, but he's starting to really come through. We got 2 more cards in this pack before we get to some Skybox, and we'll wrap things up with the basketball figure 5. Part of the Dazzler series, he made Team Canada Brandon Hagel for the World Cup of Hockey. So having a good year in Tampa Bay.
He did make Team Canada. How about that? Good for him.
And then last in the pack here, we have Alexander Ovechkin, another gaming FOV card there, like the Leon Draisaitl one we saw before. So there's another OV card. Certainly don't mind getting any of those.
Very nice.
All right. So that's plenty of hockey there. I'm excited. I got a tin I'm going to open up when I have some time on Christmas Day. Just rip through that. Maybe I'll record it and post it at some point. And my cat wants to be let out at some point. He's just going to have to deal. Let's go to...
He'll be fine.
He's already knocked over a record sleeve in protest because, the door is closed. God forbid. There's nobody else home right now, by the way. So he's not really missing anything. But here we go. NBA Christmas Day. That's what basketball is all about there. I mean, I'm not an NBA guy, but there's something nice about Christmas Day and just throwing a random game on in the background. That kind of felt like Christmas, the way football and Thanksgiving go hand in hand. Let's see what we get in the Skybox pack here. I don't have high hopes for it, but we shall see. First up, we got Anthony Webb from the Atlanta Hawks. Now, is that Spud Webb's first name and then they went with Anthony, or is that a relation to him? I don't know. Let me look
I
that
mean, it
up.
doesn't look like the biggest player there, so I would guess that's a Spud Webb card.
All right, let's see here. Spud Webb. Yeah, that's a Spud Webb card. They just decided to go Anthony for a season. There you go. All right, we got Mario Ellie here, pictured with the Golden State Warriors. I love that old school Warriors look there from the Hanging with Mr. Cooper days. Let's see here. We got an NBA Finals insert. John Paxson. Great moments from the NBA Finals here. Let's put that card there so you can see it for a second, and then I'll read back. Let's see. During the 1991 season, Paxson averaged 8.7 points per game. He stepped forward in the NBA playoffs. Blah, blah, blah. So this is let's see here. So he had a good game. Like to me, a moment is when he sank the three against the Suns a couple of years later in the finals.
Right, that's what I thought you were setting up, but it's still a nice card. I like the 90s look of these cards.
All right, we've got everyone's favorite is a checklist there. We can just put that right off to the side. We got Bill Wennington before he went to the Bulls, pictured there with the old school Sacramento Kings look.
Very nice.
Let's see, we got Quentin Daly from the Seattle Supersonics. Love those old Sonics jerseys. I mean, if they do bring back a Seattle basketball team, it's got to be the Sonics, right? Like you can't give it another name. Same color scheme. You want to modernize it a tiny bit just to change it up a little bit. Don't do what the Kings did and ruin what was a good thing. But yeah, that's got to be the look. That's got to be the color scheme.
100%. And I think they didn't announce it, but like I think they said when the Sonics became the Thunder that like Seattle was going to retain like all the rights to like Sonics history and like all that sort of stuff. So
it'll be like a Cleveland Browns kind of situation. All right, so we got Herb Williams pictured here with the Dallas Mavericks, but Knicks fans know and love Herb very well as being like the guy who rarely got off the bench, but was there forever and coached the team for a bit.
By the way, I hate to interrupt with a live sporting event, but we have a fight in the Devils Rangers game between Paul Cotter and Vincent Trocheck.
I was like, well, it can't be Rempe for once. But yeah, well, I mean, listen, the Rangers, the Devils, things get scrappy and chippy to begin with, and the Rangers need any sort of life they can get. We got Dwayne Coswell here with the Sacramento Kings. Kevin Duckworth, Trailblazers there, I believe. Rest in peace, Kevin Duckworth. I don't want to kill him if he's still alive, but I feel like he passed away. Let me check that. No, he's oh no, he passed away in 2008. Okay, so rest in peace, Kevin Duckworth. Didn't kill anybody that didn't already pass away. Michael Smith with the Boston Celtics. We got Reggie Theus picture with the New Jersey Nets there. Was also on that. Do you remember that NBC basketball show like Saturday afternoons, Hang Time? He was the coach on that for I think half the time.
I remember that.
Ken Norman, the Clippers. Our old buddy from Sirius XM NBA Radio, Mr. Sam Mitchell, pictured there with the T-Wolves before he'd go on and coach them many years later. And we got two good, strong cards here to close out the deck. We've got Bill Laimbeer actually cleanly boxing out Horace Grant, not resorting to any, what we'll call the Motor City guys there, or the Bad News Pistons. Yeah.
I thought you were going to try to work another Matt Rempe reference, even though it's cross sport now.
No, I mean, Bill Laimbeer actually did things besides play dirty. Like he actually brought other factors to the floor. And now,
plus, he turned into a pretty good coach in his post-playing career. He coached forever in the WNBA.
Yeah. Bill Laimbeer, not a guy I'd want to have to go and get a rebound next to. And then here's we'll close the pack strong there with Mr. Irvin Magic Johnson.
That's certainly how you want to finish the pack there. You want to finish with a legend, and that is a legend right there in Magic Johnson. And the Devils are up on the Rangers 1-0, by the way. It looks like Jack Hughes has done it again playing Instagram hockey.
Does it look like I'm surprised?
No. Okay. But I would imagine Steve Alec will be salty during the intermission.
Oh, well, he was showing off. He didn't have to do that. And like the Rangers already have a reputation of being a soft team, and then your analyst goes and says something like that. Like, come on now.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. It's one of those things. You just have to deal with it. I'm afraid. I had to eat this last year when the Devils stunk. Now it's your turn, my friend.
I understand, but it's not like I get it from one angle on the Jets. I get it from another angle on the Rangers right now. I wasn't supposed to get it from the Rangers this year. Like they weren't supposed to suck this year, and here they are. All right, pull of the day. I mean, it's probably going to be your card. I mean, I know the Ovi card was cool.
I put Adam in a horrible mood 2 days before Christmas. And
Thanks.
yeah,
Pull of
it
the day.
is what it is. We didn't even exchange gifts this year, so that's this is just a cherry on top.
Yeah. Oh well. I got my pulls of the day here. We'll go through them. I mean, we all know yours is going to win anyway. But there, I've got. Let's see. I've got the Ryan Getzlaff Young Guns throwback. I've got the gaming FOV, Draisaitl and Ovechkin there. You can see Ovi. You can see Draisaitl. It's cool how they make it like the same pair, like the same pose. And then, of course, the Irvin Magic Johnson base card there. Not worth a whole lot, but that was the third and final of those Skybox packs, and that was definitely the strongest one of the bunch.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was a very good pack there. But you know what my pick is going to be, and I think you would agree as well. It's got to be the Christian and Carnacio Strand patch card.
Anytime you get any sort of memorabilia, that has to win. That has to win.
Yeah. I think so too. Like any memorabilia, that wasn't a word. Any memorabilia, any autograph card, yeah, I think it's got to win.
Yeah, for sure. And you take it this week. I had some good candidates, but nonetheless, I'll return. I've got more of those blaster box packs that we'll do in a coming week here, but not till next year because this is the last one of 2024 before we hit 2025. Now it's time for the starting lineup figure 5. We're going to keep it basketball here. Jared got Mr. Joe Thornton out of the box a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I did.
So last week, I don't believe you got. You didn't hit last week. I forget who it was, but nonetheless, you get a chance to get back off the schneid. And today it's basketball, and I'm not going to say anything beyond that. And with that, say it again.
Is this player an NBA champion?
Not a champion. Made it to the finals.
Made it to the finals. Did this player ever win a major award like MVP?
He did not win any awards, but he's 3-time All-NBA and a 6-time All-Star. All-NBA could be first, second, or third team, but he was All-NBA.
And a 6-time All-Star. Okay. Is this player in the Hall of Fame?
Not in the Hall of Fame.
Not in the Hall of Fame. Okay.
2 to go.
All right, that's interesting. I really got to dig deep. So not an NBA champion, not in the Hall of Fame, never won a major award. 6-time All-Star. Did this player play his entire career with one team?
He did not. He played with 4 teams, but you'll definitely remember him as a member of 1 for sure, 2 for sure, maybe the 3rd. I doubt the 4th.
I can already tell you right now, I don't think I'm going to get this one. I do have a lean, but I don't think I'm going to nail it. But I'm going to ask a question that revolves around my lean.
Okay.
Did this player... See, now... No, that's a bad lean because he never made it to a finals, I don't think. So, no, forget that. I can't ask that about him. Did this player... I'm trying to think of some of these rando teams that made the finals.
Big question here. Last one of the year.
Yeah, last one of the year. All right, I got a question.
Okay.
Did this player play for the New Jersey Nets?
He never played for the Nets.
Okay. So much for that lean I came up with on the fly. My initial lean was Tracy McGrady. which I know is not correct. And my backup lean was Richard Jefferson, which is also not going to be correct. So,
So
this
you're
is my
just
way.
throwing a dart here.
Oh, I'm 100% throwing a dart here. So I'm thinking of like all these random teams that made the finals.
Made the finals in the 90s.
Yeah, some in the 90s. Just gonna take a total stab in the dark. Is it Dan Marley?
Bum bum ba bum. Wow, no. Good guess. I do have a Dan Marley, Thunder Dan, good player. Mr. Sean Kemp made the finals. One stare against the Bulls, took them to 6.
This is not the first time you fooled me on Sean Kemp.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to fool you on Kemp. I want to take this guy out of the box, but I can't.
I know you very much want to take him out of the box. Next time we do basketball, I'm just going to ask: Is this guy a fan of a certain green leaf?
Did he play for the Sonics? And that gets you down to 2. Gary Payton. Let's see here. So no, yeah, I know you obviously remember him as a Sonic. You remember him as a Cavalier. Do you remember him playing on the Trailblazers?
No.
2 seasons with Portland. So you definitely don't remember him spending a cup of coffee with the a full season with the Orlando Magic in his final year.
No, the Orlando. What do I look like? Jamie Oppenheim? I'm going to pull that out of my ass? No.
What is it with Patrick? Like people that go to end their careers in Orlando. Didn't Patrick Ewing finish his last year with Orlando too? I know he went to the Sonics.
That's what old people do. They go to Florida to retire.
Where did you finish with the Magic, or was that just a stop on the way? Let me see here. Not his son that lasted the season. No, Orlando was his last stop. It was Nixon at Seattle for a year and Orlando for a year.
By the way, since I mentioned him, shout out to Jamie Oppenheim, who thoroughly destroyed me in the semifinals of our One Fantasy League that we were you and I were discussing offline quite a bit during the week. As it turns out, there was absolutely nothing I could do. So I actually don't feel bad about it. You go up against a loaded stack team like the one Jamie has in that league. You know, you're kind of grasping at straws. And like I said to you off air, it didn't really matter to me if I lost by 30 or 100. Well, and that's good because I'm going to wind up losing by about 100.
And the thing is, like, if you're going to lose, like, you know, if some guy puts up a juggernaut week on you, it's almost like you can't feel bad about losing. Like, all right, he put up 330 points. What am I going to do about that? Even if you had one of your best weeks, like sometimes you just run into somebody like that. So
I took some chances, you know, that were a little unconventional. Like I sat Deebo Samuel, who hasn't done anything all year. And of course, he has his best game of the year yesterday. And I sat him for Keon Coleman to try to go for double touchdowns with the Buffalo Bills. So like I swung for the fences there. It didn't work out, but I you know what? As long as the process is sound, I'm content. And I would say this was a disappointing year for me in fantasy between both leagues. Like didn't even make the playoffs in the league where I'm the 2-time defending champion. But you know, it's just one of those years where everything kind of didn't go right and was sort of battling against it the entire year. So it is what it is.
My dynasty season, so in the other league that Jamie runs, I went 11-3, finished second, but I ran into the last team in the second round here that just like they went 7-7, but they had like either first or second most points in the league. And it's not over, but it pretty much is. So I'll go out in the semis for a second year in a row in that league. But the league, you're in the 2-time defending champion. I've got a decent lead over Bob Stewart. But
I think you'll win. I was looking at that box score today. I think you'll hold them off.
I've got enough of a cushion, and I've got 2 versus his 3, so it should be okay as long as one of his guys doesn't have like a monster night, but we shall see.
I like that you have Kendre Miller tonight with no Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I made that change. You know, I had Ray McLeod as my last flex guy, and I'm like, once the Alvin Kamara news was starting to get around, I'm like, no, I'm putting Kendre in, and I get what I get out of him. So we'll see what happens on Monday Night Football tonight. But hey, Saints-Packers has got some meaning to me. Now, we'll get to the starting lineup studio audience here, but it is on a bittersweet note because Mr. Ricky Henderson passed away over the weekend. You know, one of my, and there we'll do the figure 5. It's Bay Area sports legends because Joe Thornton got out of the box, needed his time in the audience, and then we got Ricky there. So you see Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. There's some Bay Area sports legends in honor of Ricky Henderson passing away. I believe it was the age of 65. You know, when you get your Little League baseball cards and you have to write the info on the back, I always put Ricky Henderson as my favorite baseball player because even as a kid on the other side of the country, he was always fun to watch. Best base stealer of all time. I don't know if he'll ever be challenged. I mean, he might be statistically, but I mean, the way he just he owned the base paths.
The word GOAT is thrown around a lot loosely, but Ricky Henderson was certainly one of the GOATs of all time for his contributions to Major League Baseball. I was so bummed when I saw that news this weekend. And to make matters worse, I don't know if you were following that story. So like that news broke late on a Friday night or something, but it was unverified Twitter sources. So you didn't really know if it was a thing. And it was almost a day and a half later, on the middle of Saturday afternoon when the major media outlets actually started confirming it. So it's one of those things when you see a negative story like that, you hope it's not true. And then you just don't hear anything about it for a bit. And then obviously when you saw, when it turned out that it was true, it was just really upsetting to see.
One of the all-time great players, one of the all-time great personalities, still stayed involved with the Bay Area and the A's. I mean, it was called Ricky Henderson Field. I saw Brody Brazil tweeting hey, we should rename the street leading up to that to 2400 Ricky Henderson Way or something like that. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, listen, I know the A's aren't there anymore, but Ricky Henderson is a fixture in the Bay when it comes to baseball players and just all-time great athlete. So he definitely deserves his due there. So condolences to the Henderson family and all the A's fans. And frankly, he played with so many teams. He played with the Yankees, he played with the Blue Jays. He was all over the baseball. Played with the Mets, played everywhere.
Yeah, I forgot some of the teams he played with. I forgot he was on the Red Sox for a year. He was on the Dodgers at the end of his career. I forgot about some of them. I think he played with the Padres for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can't name all the teams. I know he's with the Blue Jays for a little bit as well, and I feel like we've covered most of it already between all those teams that we just named. But yeah, he's a legend in every sense of the word, and I love the fact that he never officially retired as well. He's one of those dudes.
I mean, let's be real. I mean, maybe not at the age of 65, but maybe 10 years ago, he might still be able to snag a base or two.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I love seeing the stories about him as well. He's a dude who never lifted weights. All he did was sit-ups and push-ups. It's this dude rocks. I love him.
And the teams we missed, he spent some time with the Anaheim Angels and the Seattle Mariners, but we got the rest of them otherwise. We got all of his other teams. There we go. But that'll do it for this edition of Rip N Riff. And the last one for 2024, folks. We'll be back 2025, more episodes. We're going to take a week off end of the year. We've earned it. We deserve it. We'll miss you. We appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget, give us a like, rate, subscribe, follow, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, X, whatever you want to call them. But for Mr. Jared Moore, I'm at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Let's see you in a couple of weeks, and we'll see you next year with an all-new episode of Rip N Riff here on the Rip N Riff YouTube channel.